I hope we're doing extremely well this afternoon, Thursday the 16th. Yeah, that's right. I should know that from this morning. I hope we're doing extremely well. Now, as promised, I did say that I would come back if there's any news. We've got sent an interesting clip, and I'll be completely upfront as to where this come from as well, as to not be accused of plagiarizing things. Sat there minding my own beeswax, planning tonight's show as it was, and then I get a sent a clip from the United stand. To be fair, so Mr. Jacobs was on that. So Ben was on that today. Now I got sent a clip of that, and I watched it. And again, big up to the United stand on that as well, and we'll get through that for what he had to say. No, he's gone on there and pretty much given them an exclusive. So Ben, as you see him on Talk Sport, and he quite often is on there as well. So massive props to the United stand for getting that as well. So again, as I say, I got sent a clip of that, and I absolutely had to come on with what we've been talking about and talk about that. So the media does run things on. Remember, has it updated? No. By far, the last time I see it become a big. Yeah, look, the menu, look, but mate, look, you're welcome to stay, my friends, but cool, okay, awesome, my friend. Look, but you're welcome to any stream that you like, my friend. So welcome to the channel. I'm JB. If you didn't know that already, what we do here is we look at the news. I'll come on if anything does break. I'll tell you the sources as to where they come. Totally upfront and honest. I'm not a dictator of this chat. I give you my opinions. I respect yours. Yeah. So this is exactly what we do on here. I'll give you my opinions. You give me your opinions, and we talk about this stuff that comes out. So to further the conversation, all I'm going to say is, obviously, when you do come on to the show, or one of the things that I demand fundamentally, big respect. Emmanuel, thank you, my friend. Look, absolutely amazing. I appreciate the support, my friend. So thank you. Emmanuel is a legend of the chat, and I appreciate him here. So feel free to get into the chat. Feel free to let me know what you've seen today. I'll give you an update as to the breaking news, because it has just broke. I've just heard this myself, and I'm kind of watching the clip that I got sent. I think it's a very, very interesting clip. Now I've gone further, and I've basically gone and had a little look at the consortium involved, so we can discuss and go through in a little bit more what the consortium is, and talk about maybe what we think about the deal. The menu does random things. Mate, I don't have the time, mate. I absolutely do not have the time. I try to do many things, and it completely depends on the view, my friends. If something's not going to get a lot of views, absolutely. I can't discuss how much money I make, my friend. Look, this channel at the moment doesn't really make any money at all. It's something that I do basically for free. Come in here, bring you the news, and even if it did make money, my friend, that's something I do not discuss on here at all. But feel free to ask. Definitely something that I will absolutely not discuss. And Emmanuel, as opposed to the other channel that I do as well, I don't have time. There are things in the pipeline, my friend, but I absolutely don't have time. At the moment, I think we are 17,000 on here, which is absolutely nuts. So let's get into this, guys. Feel free to get into the chat. Feel free to let me know your opinions on this. Hello, Bobby. Welcome to the chat. Bobby, a legend of the chat and one of the mods. Get into this now. So, breaking news. So, I got sent a clip from somebody that I know. Yeah, so this has come from the United stand. So Ben, who goes on there sometimes. So So Jacobs Ben on X. So Ben basically, is a really, really well respected guy. That's his X handle. So Ben, really, really respected guy. Really, really good on this stuff. Now, when he tends to talk about this stuff, and this is, this is him talking on the United stand. This is basically where this clip is from. Big up to them for getting the sort of exclusive, if you like, on this one. So, and I think it's really, really important to come on and to kind of break this in our little way as well. So basically, the consortium, according to Ben, has been identified as the IHC. These are the international holding companies. So they are a major investment company based in Abu Dhabi and the UAE. Now, this is one of the most valuable companies listed in the ADX or the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, so the ADX. So what we're dealing with here, we are dealing with a consortium of companies. So when we've been hearing the consortium and people have been, this UAE consortium, this I believe now is exactly what we are handling. So Nemanja does random things when you make me a mod. My friend, I've got enough mods, and I kind of need moderators sort of be on here as much as possibly can, my friend. So this is being described as basically to buy the club. So this is a consortium led to basically go and buy the club. So this is if you have just joined. So this was broken by Ben on the United stand. So Jacobs Ben on X, that's his Twitter handle. So Ben is great on this stuff. I've listened to Ben now for quite some time. I think he's a very, very articulate. I think he's a very, very intelligent man. So I got sent a clip, and this is where this has come from. So I think it's important to discuss this. I don't think it was discussed in depth, and we can talk about this now. But this was broken by Ben on the United stand. So the consortium that has been revealed is the International Holding Company, or the IHC. They are pretty much a major investment company based in Abu Dhabi, the UAE, and is one of the most valuable companies listed on the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, or the ADX. So now let me give you an overview of this. So this is basically, so they were founded in 1998, originally as Asmart, focused on fisheries. Okay. Headquarters in Abu Dhabi and the UAE. The chairman, who is on the thumbnail, is Sheikh Tanoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan. I hope I've pronounced that right. And he's also the UAE's national security advisor. Now, there are so many different, obviously different factors and different names to this. So the CEO is Saeed Bazar Shoaib. I think that's how you pronounce that as well. So the ownership of this is a majority owned by the Royal Group, approximately 60%. So it says the market cap, I don't know what it is, I need to look up on that. So the market cap is around 240 billion USD as of 2024. Now the business operations, IHC, have been involved from seafood exporters into global investment powerhouse. Okay, so if you have just joined, what's been revealed on the United stand, props to them. Ben, who's on there all of the time. So Jacobs Ben at X, check him out on the United stand on TalkSport as well. Really, really great guy. He was really, really good on the original cell. Really, really, really good on the original cell and the Saudi league as well. So very, very good guy. It's his story to break, his story to tell. So the consortium, I believe now that this is the consortium that has been revealed by Ben, is the International Holding Company, or the ICE. They are a major investment company based in Abu Dhabi and the UAE. It's one of the most valuable companies listed on the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, or the ADX. Been around since about 1998. Now, the chairman, Sheikh Tahoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan, I hope that's how you say it, and the CEO, Saeed Basar Shoaib. Now, this company's market cap, I don't know enough about Saudi and how they operate, but there's a market cap 240 billion US dollars. So we'll go through who they are and we'll talk about that. So the IHC was involved from a seafood exporter, but have now diversified into global investment. Okay, so their powerhouse or their portfolio is agricultural, food, healthcare, real estate, construction, which I think is a pivotal point here. The real estate and construction, energy, utilities, finance services, technologies, marine, mobile, media, hospitality, sustainability. The key subsidiaries are. I won't go through that because I don't think we need to know that. So when we're now looking at a company to come in now, this according to Ben is basically a bid. This is basically to buy the club. Now, when we're looking at, and again, we should hedge our bets and talk about investment. Now, when we're talking about companies and who are able to buy the club, and we will come on to basically the valuation and how much money that they do have. So when we're talking about a consortium or a company to come in and buy this club of this size, now the investment powerhouse and the skills that they have in-house, we are talking about energy, we're talking about technology, marine, real estate, constructions. Do you think we'll be sold by 2027? Now, the interesting thing here is that it's going to take at least a year. I think this will take at least 9 to 10 months to sell this club. Now, if again, and I have to stress that this is nowhere near as close as Turkey El Sheikh said. This is a consortium that have been put together, and so the only thing I do need to say on this, and John, and again, I will come back to that, my friend, is that if we are going to be sold, do I think we'll be sold by 2027? Now, there are two parts to that. Now, one, we could be, if we were going to, so the drag-along clause ends in 2027, which basically doesn't guarantee Sir Jim's shares anymore, and that will devalue what the Glazers can get for the club. That's a fact. So what that means is that they've got a year, basically from when the 2027 deal ends. So I think it's February time. So if they are going to sell the club, they would need to start to sell it kind of now, and February time, or they're just not going to get the deal done by those rights ending. And a caveat to that is, if you're a company looking, or if you're in a consortium or an investor looking to buy this club, why would you do it now when you know in a year's and a bit's time that you can actually get the club for a cheaper price? Particularly if the plan for which I think will happen, particularly if the plan for the stadium is ahead. Now, there is that factor. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, that yes, they come in and they made an offer and it was accepted. Would it be done by 2027? Yes, it would do, because the Glazers would want it to happen as quickly as possible so they can get the 5 billion that they want for this club. Abuka Andy says, is it true that we're going to be sold to the UAE? So if you have just joined, breaking news from Jacobs Ben at X. So Ben is a really, really good guy. Check him out on X. I will push this. I'll push him on the United stand. So this is where this has come from. I got a clip basically of him revealing this, and I kind of watched that clip. It was about a 2-minute clip. So big up to them, because they got him on, and basically he sort of revealed it on there. Now, when Ben talks about this, or when he talks about UAE stuff, he's very, very good. He doesn't just say stuff for clicks. He's very, very good, and he's very, very, very intelligent and very, very good about how he says stuff. Now, he has caveated this with, this is not close, not as close as Turkey Al-Sheikh said. This is, but they are together and they are talking about this. So IHC, I'll go through this again, is a major investment company based in the UAE. It's one of the most valuable companies listed on the Securities Exchange. Founded in 1998, headquarters UAE and Abu Dhabi. Chairman Sheikh Tahoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan, I think that's how you say it. CEO Saeed Bashir Shoaib. Market cap, as I've said, I don't know, obviously, because obviously the oil money and that kind of stuff, how much they can actually, and does it have to be capped at a certain point, is around 240 billion. Business operations, which I think is an interesting one to think about here. So we've got healthcare, real estate and construction, and I think that's a really interesting one. Energy, finance, technology, media and hospitality. So this has been confirmed. So is this true? Yes. Is it going to happen? We don't know. That is the question here. It won't happen. John, now, look, as I said before, I'm of the opinion that this is about investment. So, John, I'm not disagreeing with you here, but the facts are, and as per Ben, and Ben is very, 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 very good, there is a consortium together trying to put something together to buy this club. Now, secondary to that, now they are looking for ambassadors. Now, not necessarily people to invest in the club. So what they're looking to do is get legends of this club. And Cantona is on the thumbnail because he's basically been confirmed as one of the legends who is looking as an ambassadorial role to kind of front this consortium as well. So, but one of the things, and this is basically for John, is that when you look historically about how City, Newcastle were bought, there was these sort of rumours as well. It all started very much in the same way. So for people who are looking for positives, for people like me and John who were like, this is probably about investment, and obviously the Glazers are extremely smart, and I agree with you. It's just a shame they had to choose United. I completely agree with you. I believe it's about investment for the Glazers, but I do believe now that, and again, Turkey Al-Sheikh did reveal that there is a investment consortium, and this is that investment consortium. So it's the IHC. So I do believe that there is a consortium out there to try to buy the club, but it's whether or not that the Glazers can achieve their price. Lucas says, hello, my friend. I hope you're doing it extremely well. The Glazers used Sir Jim to strip down their asset to be ready for sale. They got all the attention off them and on to Radcliffe. Now they're going to sell the club for at least 8 billion. Super Battles, very, very intelligent thing to say. I mean, we've been talking about it on here for quite some time. Agree with you. Well, what the Glazers have done is, I think you're right. In some respects, they haven't asset stripped the club. Asset stripping is something else. What they've done is they've streamlined their asset. So they've made their asset a bit more appealing. They've not stripped it down. That's a different thing, right? So they've streamlined their asset. They've streamlined the operation. They've got Sir Jim to basically invest in the asset. So when you buy an asset, you're allowed to refurbish your asset, and you get tax breaks and that kind of stuff on it. So what they've done is, I think you're quite right, is they've come in, they've looked at the asset, they've seen that it's in a state. They've come in, they've refurbished the asset, they have streamlined the operational bit of the asset. They've got a bunch of deals in place as well. Do not forget that they've got a Coca-Cola deal in place as well. It looks like they've struck a deal for freight line to buy that as well. So if you're looking at it, I agree with you. I think that you could see it as they are streamlining that asset down. They've made the asset more appealable. The stumbling block could be if the freight line wanted £500 million. They're entitled to ask for that. They're never going to get it. So if they can agree that term, then actually you've got two options. From that point, you go, are the Glazers really serious about this? The stumbling block, and the major stumbling block, and this is where I am sort of agreeing with John on this one here, is that there's still a stumbling block. It's how do they afford to do it? Okay, I'm of the opinion, and hopefully I'm wrong, this is going to be a three-way between the Glazers, Ineos, and IHC. You look at the skill set, and the thing is, the more that you hear, the more that people like Ben, who are close to this stuff, who go on to channels and reveal certain things. If you look at the IHC and the skill set that they bring, we're looking real estate, construction, technology, hospitality, media, logistics. Those are all the skills and capabilities that you need for investment and to get a stadium built. So you can look at it now as two ways. Number one, and according to Ben, this consortium is looking to buy the club, is that will this consortium, if they invest, that's a very attractive investment for them, as we've spoken about on here, is that this consortium, and we'll go through the value here as well, is that they could quite easily go and buy the debt from this club. Now, you might be thinking that's a bit crazy. Why would anybody buy the debt? Invest £2 billion, £3 billion to build the stadium. They would own the stadium, possibly own the construction as well, and maybe lease it back to United. They could buy the debt for £1.2 billion, but they're going to make that back. So they would, sometimes companies buy debt as basically a way to basically own the brand, and they can recover that debt in certain ways. They can recover that debt by basically, by the time they build the stadium, by the time they get fans in there, because don't forget, this club is going to be worth billions and billions of pounds. The revenue that it will get, because it's going to be concerts, there's going to be housing. There's going to be, I'm sure this is right, about 16,000 new homes, flats going to be built there as well. The money made from those flats alone will go to cover the debt. So £1.2 billion to a cash-rich company who want to invest, they will break even on that debt. They will break even on that debt just by simply allowing it to be built. So the debt to them will be no issue if they own the stadium. That £3.2 billion will be worth 4 or 5 times that. So there's no issue there. So that is where I'm at on this one, is that there's an investment. However, Super Battles does have a point. They've got Sir Jim to front this. And is this been the plan the whole way through? You get Sir Jim in to front it. You get him in to streamline an asset, get him to do dirty work to get to this point. So I do think there is two things here. There's one, this is either an investment, because the stumbling block for my argument with the investment here is that the Glazers need investment. If they don't find the money to do this, neither Sir Jim nor Ineos, so neither Sir Jim, Ineos, or the Glazers can afford the cash to get this done. Let's go through the chat. Is the UAE going to buy the club? Plan to renovate it or build a new stadium as promised. I hope they don't rename the stadium. Let's keep Abuka, my friend. They will. I don't know what the UAE will do. That's the thing. I don't know whether they will renovate the current stadium and whether they will build a new one. The Glazers and any investment want to knock down the stadium and build a new stadium. And the new stadium, have a guess what it's going to be called? Exactly. What are your honest and open thoughts? Full Sail now. So United stand. Look, as I've just said there are two opinions that I basically like having this. My personal opinion, as just said there, is an investment. I don't understand. I can't see a situation whereby the Glazers would relinquish power in something that will give them millions, possibly billions of pounds for the next 50 years. Why would you do that? We all know what these snakes are like. We all know what they're like. They are money hungry. Even if they relinquished controlling stake, or they were equal stake, or they were equal partners with UAE Consortium, this IHC, Ineos, the Glazers, that is my fear here. That is my fear. And the reasoning for that is if we go back through this, so breaking news, the United stand, Jacobs, Ben, so Ben has been on there. That's from X, so that's his handle on X. Ben is on the United stand quite a bit. He is TalkSport, very, very respected guy, has broken on the United stand, so big up to them. Absolute, behemoth of a channel. If you're prepared, or if I'm prepared to talk about some of the outlets I do on X, I think it's only fair to bring up the United stand and give them props as well, because they're absolutely huge. The company revealed, or the consortium revealed, the UAE Consortium is the International Holding Company, or the IHC, a major investment company based in Abu Dhabi, or the UAE. Which, look, this is how we know, guys, that this is kind of, there is some substance here. One of the most valuable companies listed on the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, or the ADX. Founded in 1998, headquarters in Abu Dhabi in UAE. Sheikh Tahoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan is the chairman. CEO Saeed Bashir Shoaib. Market cap, and I think this is where the company's there, because they could get so huge, are capped, £240 billion. Investment, their portfolio, their skills, healthcare, real estate construction, which is really important here, energy, finance, technology, logistics, mobility, media, hospitality. Look, as an investment partner, if this is true, the Glazers will go all in on this, because as an investment partner, and we'll talk about the wealth and the money here, they would be an amazing investment partner. Now, that is where I'm at. I think that is what the Glazers are sort of after. But as we've spoken about, there is a possibility, and according to Ben, they want a full sell. So before we go through it, let's have a little look. Everspeak exclusive channel says it has to happen full sell all the way. Why do you guys don't like the UAE? Look, I am not against UAE. Look, all I'm going to say on this is that it depends on where your morals lie, right? But let's not pretend that morals and football go hand in hand. Okay, you have to separate the two. Now, I've already explained what I would want in an ideal world, and there are complications to this. In an ideal world, I would want a British-owned, British-backed club, partly owned by the fans. The debt gone. Sustainability, sustain off of our own money, because we basically can do that. The debt gone. Partly owned by the fans, partly owned by somebody who understands. Look, I don't see there's anything wrong in being proud of the country that you're from, right? Irrespective, and we're not going to get into the whys and wherefores of this country and that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with wanting a British ownership of your club and fans. And when I say that, fans across the world, and I'm not talking about British things, oh yes, I'm just talking about, that are British based and owned here. Okay, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. go to India, very, very, very proud of the things that they do and the things that they own. China, Russia, I don't know if you can say Russia, very, very proud of their own heritage and the company. So there's nothing wrong with that here. I'm not against that. That would be my ideal, to be sustainable, live off the things that we earn because we're such a big club. Ideal situation. That's not going to happen for a number of reasons: complexity, money, and all that sort of stuff. But I can't have my cake and eat it. So I'm not against the UAE. We can talk about the whys and the wherefores, and you can go into the political side, but I believe you have to separate both of those two out. So I'm not against it. I'm just reporting the news. I've not cast an opinion as to the morals of a country. We're not exactly the best either at times, so I don't think that's fair. United Stand says, I want full sale. We'll never get rid of the Glazers and Radcliffe. Full sale. I'm with you, my friend. Are still on the plan to sign Belieber? No, I will come to that, but I'm going to go on this at the moment. So, breaking news. So Jacob's Ben on X. Check him out on X. I will push you towards him on X. So Ben on the United Stand. I got a clip sent to me of Ben. This is not the United Stand's news. This is from Ben, and he basically put it on there today that the consortium has been revealed as the IHC company, the international holding company. I've got information here. I've gone a little bit further than what they have, and I'm looking at this now. We're a major investment company based in Abu Dhabi, UAE, one of the most valuable companies listed on the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange on the ADX. 1998, they've been around since headquarters in Abu Dhabi, UAE. So guys, we're looking at UAE. We've been told this, so this is completely making sense. Sheikh Tahoun bin Zayed Al Nahyan is the UAE's national security advisor and the chairman. CEO Saeed Basar Shoaib, market cap. So I'm guessing they're capped there because you could have £1 trillion company that could just take over the world. Around 240 billion. Now, their skills here, we're talking about healthcare, real estate construction, which are two really important things here. Energy, technology, mobility and logistics, hospitality and media. So as a consortium, absolutely fantastic. I don't care where they come from. If they print money with oil, who cares if we win the league, since where there are ethics in modern football, there is no loyalty and players are earning crazy money. And my friend, I absolutely, and as I say, what I do here is I'll read your opinions on here. I think it's really, really important to give you guys that respect. I'll give you my opinion. My opinion is not the be all and the end all. It's just an opinion, the same as yours. Doesn't mean that that's the end of the conversation. Sometimes I will read a comment and come back with mine. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's just out of respect that I'll read your comments and maybe come back from time to time. Look, I'm somewhere in between that. I'm not totally comfortable. As I said, I've already said my ideal situation. I just think we need to be careful. I think some of us, and rightly so, won't care where the money comes from. There are a lot of ethical things for me. But if this happens, there's nothing that I can do. There's nothing that I can do. But the only thing I will say for us as fans is we need to be careful what we wish for. I'm not with that. I respect the opinion, and that's the opinion in many, many eyes. I just worry that we need to be careful what we wish for. The Nathan guy, do you think hate towards Trent by Liverpool is justified? I personally think it's over exaggerated hate. I mean, look, with Trent, I think it's passion, mate. Nothing guy, I think it's passion. Look, I think that when you're passionate about somebody, particularly one of your own, and you feel you've been stabbed in the back. Look, I can't comment on it because I'm not a Liverpool fan. I mean, I was vocal enough when a certain young player went from United to Chelsea, right, and was wearing an Aston Villa shirt. Now, I had enough to say. Do I hate people? No, no. I mean, I don't think. I mean, do I hate anybody? No. But that's how passionate some people are. So, I mean, do I think it's over the top? Yes, I do. But that's only because that's my opinion. Now, there are many people that share that view. I'm not one of those people, but football is one of those things that it consumes people. People are passionate about it. I completely get the passion. People spend their money. People are not entitled to hate people because they spend their money. You pay your money, you take your chances. I personally think it's a bit OTT. The kid wanted to try something else. It's football. So I don't judge. I'd rather people not hate, but for me personally, I think it is. But I can understand to a small degree why people do think that way. The only thing that excites me about the UAE ownership is clearing the debt and a full takeover. I agree with you. United Stan says hello, hi. I believe it is not the one. I agree. I predicted United would go for Wharton. Harif says, do you think the new stadium would hinder or help the club going forward? Now, Harif, I think that it depends. I think it depends. And that's a bloody good point. It's a very, very good point. So when we're talking about new stadiums, if we regenerated Old Trafford, I think we'd be fine. I think a new stadium would take a while to embed. Where would be the atmosphere? Where would be the history behind it? We would need to build a fortress. Now, you think about the 100 and odd years of being in that ground. As much as people don't necessarily fear playing us, but people come to that ground and everyone's like, wow, this is an historic ground. A new stadium, I think, would hinder us. I don't want it. I don't want it at all, but I do think it would. United don't need a new stadium, maybe a change here and there. They need a better system of players. Look, we need something doing. I agree that we don't need a new stadium, but I disagree. We need the stadium sorted out because it is a fuck. I was there a little while ago. It is horrific. It is disgusting. Everything needs ripping out, starting again. It needs refurbishing. It's going to cost a couple of billions of pounds. This is what the Glazers have done to this club. Is they have ripped that they pretty much let that stadium. Everything needs to be done. The drainage, the electrics, the roof, the seating, the whole thing needs to be done. So whilst I agree with you, I don't need a new stadium, but it's going to cost money, and also we do need better players as well. United Stan, are you sure? Call them with him. Help Shesko. Cool. Good day, JB Frugal Boy. JB, which club do you think has the best owners currently? It's difficult to say. I think City. You got to say City. Liverpool. They've let Slot go and buy a bunch of players. If you're talking about best owners, what are we talking about? Are we talking about ethical owners? Are we talking about like owners who let like managers go buy clubs? Are we talking about owners who run the club in the right way? Give me more context. But if we're talking about owners who are the best owners, City's owners, Liverpool, Arsenal to a degree, they've tried to do things the right way. Chelsea's owners, I think mismanagement, but you could argue Liverpool. I mean, City, they let their managers go and buy players. So if we're talking about owners who are want to let their club be successful, doesn't matter how they get their money into the club. You've got to look at those two. Josh says, I'm a Milan fan and this is international break. We've had 3 major injuries. FIFA continues to overload an already packed fixture list for profits, while international managers risk players for meaningless games. Josh, very, 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 very insightful there, my friend. Yeah, it's ridiculous. For example, England v Wales, who cares? Like, England v Wales, I mean, who cares? It was a nothingness. When you factor in a Club World Cup, obviously Milan weren't in it, United, they weren't in it, but you're right. International breaks, friendlies in between those as well, major profits. You're right, my friend. Look, football is about money, and I think you make a brilliant point, Josh. I think you make an absolute fantastic point. These players are playing. Look, as much as these players, in my opinion, get paid a lot of money, there's only so much the human body can do, right? And you're right. You are right. You are right. Bobby says, I hate to say it, but City have the best diners putting money in and they are still 1-1-5. Exactly. City definitely paid Premier League some good cash. Belieber is favoured by Amorim. He's extremely athletic, which is exactly what Amorim's midfielders need to be, athletic and explosive. Is Casemiro still starting? I reckon he will. Adam Wharton is a much better option than Manu. Job Bellingham, experience, can play 3-4-3 like he does at Palace. I agree with you. Wharton is the one for me. I don't think the UK can be talking about ethics with our past history. I agree with you. Look, we're not going to get into all that. I think that's a conversation for another day. I don't think anyone's hands are clean around the world, to be fair. I think we can talk about ethics. I disagree we can. But that's a conversation for a different show. Look, no one's clean. No one's country is fully clean, and we can go back through history. We can go back to certain kings selling people as well. I mean, look, nobody has their hands clean in here. But where I do agree with you, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And UK 100%, we are not in a position to preach ethics to anybody. You look at the politicians. I agree with you, but I think when we're talking about that sort of stuff, I don't think anyone's hands are clean. But I do agree with you. Also, the nations we support and fund, politicians and the monarchy are hardly angels. Tulip, again, agree with you. If you look at the Queen and you look at the historic, past of that as well. Look, we're not gonna do politics and whatever else on here. You guys can do that in the chat. But yeah, back to football. What does it mean they're preparing a bid for the club? So, breaking news, and I will go through it again if anybody's joined late. I know it's boring, but I think it's important to go through it again. Is that breaking news broken by Jacob Ben? So Ben, that's on X. So follow him on X. On the United stand, as he is quite a lot. On TalkSport as well. Really, really good guy. Really, really intelligent. Really, really articulate guy. This is not the United stands news, by the way. This was broken on there. I got sent a clip, and really, really interesting clip. I think needed to break because we were wondering who this consortium is. So it's been broken that the consortium is the International Holding Company, or the IHC. And these things now that I'm going to read out are the things that I do believe that this is true. A major investment company from Abu Dhabi and the UAE. Is one of the most valuable companies listed on the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, or the ADX. Founded in 1998, headquarters in Abu Dhabi, UAE. Chairman Sheikh Tahoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan. CEO Saeed Bashir Shoaib. market caps of companies worth around about £240 billion. Now, the global investment and the portfolio and the skills that they have, real estate construction, really, really important. Energy, utilities, we're talking about a club, energy for the club, because we're in a carbon zero country as well, so that's really, really important there as well. Technology, infrastructure, logistics, media, hospitality. Absolutely, those are all the things that you need. Now, onto the financials. So, revenue from 2023. Okay, so revenue from 2023 was 16.4 billion. Okay, the net income from that was 7.4 billion pounds. So this is a revenue. This is income now. Net income 7.5 billion. And their total assets. Are you ready for this? Total assets. So bear in mind that INEOS, who are struggling at the moment, their net assets or their value of the company is 666.8 billion. The IHC's total assets are 455 billion. So we're talking 8 times the size of INEOS. So these are the figures with that skill set that we're talking about there. JB, could this be stock manipulation if we don't sell? Part of me thinks the Glazers are talking about a new stadium, selling the club to keep the fans happy and the stock market happy too. Agreed. They can't manipulate stock. That's illegal. So whilst I semi-agree with you, on the New York Stock Exchange, they have to disclose any major deals that will boost the stock price, because manipulation is against the law. Now, they can't do that. They can if they disclose what it is. So the moment that they disclose what this is the moment that goes, right? So this is why when we're looking at the share price, one of the indicators, and it's not always, is not to see whether it's increasing because something's going to happen, right? In terms of, that we're going to get bought or whatever else, because certain investments can happen, as you said there. A new stadium could buoy the market, talk of selling the club can buoy the market as well. But what this means, and I don't know what the threshold is, I don't know what the stock needs to go up by, but why this is important is because then the Glazers will have to disclose the reasoning behind this. So it's a bit like when you create your yearly accounts, okay, and you've got a section with your notes in there. Now you've got to disclose in there certain aspects of your account. Why you've you valued your assets at X, Y, and Z. What are the profits for next year, and why? If you've predicted, you're going to accrue for X amount of money for next year. Why is that? Why have you deferred income? Why have you done all sorts of stuff? A list of your assets and all that sort of stuff. So the Glazers cannot have their cake and eat it here. So if they are trying to manipulate this stock up, then they have to let the market know why. Because, as you say, manipulation of the market, that's why the SEC is there, and these rules are here, are to stop people like the Glazers from manipulating the market to the degree that they are. So, but aside from that, a upturn in value of the stock doesn't mean that we're going to sell. So we do need to be careful here. The reason why this is a good exercise to be aware is if it goes up, I think probably past the 20 mark, then I think this is where the Glazers will then have to absolutely then advise the market as to what it is. And once they've advised the market, then we'll know more. So to come back to this as well, if you have just joined, I'll quickly just go back through it again. So basically, the consortium, according to Ben on the United stand, got sent a clip. This is not the United stand news to break. It was Ben who broke it on there. He will no doubt put it on his X. Check him out. So Jacobs Ben on X. Check him out. There's no doubt who put it on there. Put it on his X feed. And that kind of stuff as well. So the consortium that Turki Al-Sheikh has been mentioning, now to caveat that, Ben has said that this is nowhere near close, but he has confirmed the consortium has met and are talking about a bid for the club. International holding company based in UAE, Abu Dhabi. One of the most valuable companies there, started in 1998, roughly worth around, and there's a market cap here, so which it says there's a market cap here around 240 billion in 2024, but their total asset value is 455 billion. So, and we're not talking necessarily here about a country's wealth. We're just talking about here a company's wealth. So we're not talking about a country's wealth. We're just talking about a consortium. We're talking about a company and their operations here. We're talking about healthcare. We're talking about real estate construction. And when we're talking about building a stadium, we're talking about how quickly we can build a stadium. So if IHC, and one thing we have got to take into consideration as well is that this is how Newcastle's takeover started. Conversations about a consortium coming together. Manchester City, they started along these lines as well. There was a talk about consortiums, and look at what happened there. So if you're looking for little Easter eggs, if you're looking for little snippets of light as to why this could be a sell, and I think there are lots and lots of positives here as well. So as I've said, their skills consists of real estate and construction. Now, why is that important? Now, that is important for two reasons. Number one, this is an investment. The Glazers can use those skills. They will get the stadium built probably in double quick time. Construction, they can use their companies. Energy, utilities, don't forget that when we're talking about building, this is not just about a stadium. This is about shopping. This is about homes, and I believe this figure is right. They're going to build about 16,000 homes. So we're talking about the ability to be able to construct real estate. We're talking about shops. We're talking about retail shops. We're talking about housing. IHC can do all that. So they've got experience in real estate, construction. They're probably going to sell all of that off. The land, financial services. Media, logistics, mobility, being able to get, cranes, trucks, the infrastructure that you need to build a stadium, to build the homes, to regenerate the land, sustainability, and the environmental, because as we all sort of know here, that's really, really important. We're a carbon neutral company as well, so to be able to satisfy that as well, I've no doubt that they've got skills in-house for that as well. And then when we then talking about like the ability to to finance things, financial highlights, this goes back to 2023. Revenue 16.4 billion. Net income 7.5 billion, and total assets were 455 billion. We're talking about an absolutely global powerhouse of a company. So the IHC absolutely have the money, absolutely have the backing, they have the skills necessary to come in and absolutely transform this club. Now, they absolutely also have the ability to be able to provide services that the Glazers need. So I think this is going to be an interesting thing here, because we need to watch out what the share price is up to. And the reasoning for that is because it doesn't mean that the sale will happen. What this will mean is that it will mean that if it goes up to a certain point, that the Glazers will have to disclose, as per New York Stock Exchange rules, that they will have to disclose what is happening, whether this is investment or whether they are thinking about it. So now, whilst until 2027, this clause is in place, effectively the club is up for sale. The club is on the market, whether it's officially or not. The club actually is up for sale. So, is this inviting potentially, and as somebody said on here, are United, or did Ineos come into the club with their mandate of streamlining the asset, making it more of an appealing asset to buy? When you're selling your house, what are you going to do? You're going to tidy up your house, you're going to fix a window, you're going to fix a door, you're going to, paint, paper, just to make that asset look good. So it says the share price has dropped today, something is happening. Exactly. So the share price has slightly dropped today as well. I noticed that, but that's sort of come down to, I still think it's up, isn't it? Because it was 15, so I think it's about 18.5, 18.4. But Bobby, you're right. Something is definitely happening. It could be the calm before the storm. And Bobby, you're right. I think one of the things I'm eager for is this share price to rise, because I want the Glazers, because we all know the Glazers are that child that will deny until the evidence is literally in front of their face, and until they have to and physically forced to tell the fans what will happen, they will not disclose anything at all. Now, and also as well, do I believe that Sir Jim is in the dark? No, I don't. I absolutely do not think that Sir Jim is in the dark. I think Sir Jim is. I've always had this opinion that Sir Jim is colluding on this as well. Sir Jim is. Don't forget the clauses and whatever else is happening in this club. Sir Jim would have had to have agreed, and Sir Jim is a very intelligent man. You don't make billions of pounds that he has and blindly sign something. Sir Jim is colluding. Sir Jim absolutely knows what is going on here. The minions of the club may have no idea, but Sir Jim will absolutely 100% know. 100% know what is happening here. But Bobby, I think you're right. Something is happening here. So I said before, this could be two. I said that this could be three opinions. One, a load of nonsense, investment or a sale. And I think we are, again, Danny B, legend of the chat, big up yourself, my friend. I think this is basically either going to be a investment, which is what I lean to, or a full sale. And now that this has been revealed that this is the IHC Consortium, and the interesting part about that as well is that they're trying to get ambassadors. So the second part to that of what Ben revealed today is that Cantona, and this is, and you can take this as fact. They've approached Eric Cantona to be an ambassador. Now, when we're talking about these ex-players that they're looking to bring into this is not not backers. They're not going to be part of. They're not going to be asked to invest. This is all about ambassadorial roles, and this is all about they want these ex-players to come in and kind of be ambassadors for the club, of course, to increase the brand. Cantona, apparently they've approached him. It's not fully aware whether or not he said yes or no. I agree with you completely. So Cantona, and as we know before, Cantona has made his feelings well known about this club. So I think this could be the start of something. And also for those of you who are looking for or rays of light onto this is basically how the Newcastle deal happened, the City deal happened. Now Amanda Chevrolet, I've mentioned her before as well, and I'm going to say this again. it has been mentioned previously, and I have reported this as well, is that she's been mentioned as being part of this. She's been mentioned because she did the Saudi Arabia deal, that she's part of this. So as time is going on, people are getting a little bit more in the know, and things are kind of coming out little by little, and you are starting to see now, what is truth and what is lies. And I think really the only thing for me, I think what we've spoken about on here, I think we've pretty much been spot on, is I think, what is this? Is this investment? As we know already, we know that pretty much what's going to be announced very, very soon is that Freightliner are going to basically be forced to sell, which I think is incredulous on the basis that, they're going to be forced to sell when basically the Glazers, we can't force them out. So I think that deal will be done. The secondary part to that is, will they get their investment? And Danny's 100% right. Absolutely. Give us a like, favorite, and subscribe. Even if you'd like to get into this community, absolute amazing community. Jamie Vargas, legend of the chat, as well, my friend. It's a financial takeover. The Glazers out. Look, I think this is what I do think on this. If the IHC, which these are the guys, or these are the consortium, and they pretty much are guys, International Holding Company, or the IHC, these have been revealed as the consortium. They have the financial power, the financial clout and the skills. They have a unique set of skills that make them a nightmare for people like the Glazers. So if they wanted to come in and take this company, they could do. Because they're going to see it as a company. If they wanted to come in and take over this club, they could do it in a heartbeat. And this is what we need to watch out for now. So if they are serious about taking over this club, then they will take over this club. I think that is pretty much where we're at. But there are, in my opinion now, there are two parts to this. Is it investment, which I think would be the worst case scenario, or is this now actually about a full sell? The Glazers, the one thing to consider on this as well is that if the Glazers can get investment, okay, they're still going to need to sell shares. They're still going to need to pay somebody back, right? So if the Glazers want £5 billion, because that is what they will want. So whether they get that all in one sum, or whether they get that over the next 15 or so years through the money that comes back from the club. Buzz Jim says, I don't really like snooker. Fair enough. That's random. Buzz Jim, random. I love it, mate. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I do like snooker, actually. But proper random, Buzz. I love it, though. I do love random comments, particularly when I'm, talking about other stuff. So I think you completely lost my train of thought there. So one of the things I think I've literally completely lost my train of thought there, Buzz Jim, with that really random comment. Brilliant, absolute, well timed, brilliant comment. So well done on that one. So yeah, so I think this is basically where we're at. I think there are 2 points to this. Is this an investment? Which I don't know. If the Glazers find their investment, they will stay here and they will make the money. They'll more than make the £5 billion. But will they wait? This is the thing. Will they wait? Will they take their money? Look, if they stay, I think they're going to make £2.5 billion each, right? You've got to look at how much time would they have to be here from when the stadium is built, from when the money starts to come in from the club. How long will it take them to make that money? or say it could take them 15 years to make that money, they would still own a percentage of the club as well. So are they prepared to wait? And that as well is the consideration here, is that they can make £2.5 billion now, or wait 15 years to make it, and and then maybe in that time, maybe they'll make more, because £2.5 billion today is not going to be worth the same as it is in 15 years time. It's going to be worth more. So are they prepared to wait and take that money and go and invest it elsewhere? These are the questions. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So breaking news, big up to Jacob's Ben on X. Check him out. No doubt who put it on there. Ben broke this on the United Stand today. This is not the United Stand's news, even though it will be. This is Ben on the United Stand. So thank you to the person who sent me the clip, but big up to the United Stand. I mean, massive platform. And as I say, if I'm prepared to listen to other people on X, and I'm absolutely prepared to listen to people like Ben who go into other channels. So the consortium has been revealed as the IHC, the International Holding Company, company based in Abu Dhabi and the UAE, which goes to with what Turkey Al Sheikh was saying. Company valued, or the market cap is around 240 billion. They have assets worth over 455 billion. They have the skill set in energy, utilities, real estate, construction, technology, finance services, mobility, logistics, sustainability. Everything's there. So best case scenario is a full sell. Worst case scenario, these guys get into bed with the Glazers and give them the backing that they need. So I think this will now come out. Like, if anybody else outside of Ben or the United Stand are trying to claim this today, this has come from those guys today. So big up to them. So if anyone else starts to try to come out, if you see this on anywhere else, if you see this on X from other people, like from Indicator, or you see other people trying to claim this as their news, this is absolutely not. This is Ben's news. This is the United Stand's news as well. I've gone a little bit more in depth and told you a little bit more about who the IHC are. But yeah, this is big up to them. This is absolutely their news. This is big up to Ben as well. Fantastic guy. So well done to Ben as well. So guys, I'm going to go. I will be back this evening. As I said, I'll come on whenever I see anything worth talking about. Thank you to the person who sent me the clip. As I say, big up to the United Stand for bringing this on, and Ben as well. Absolute legend there as well. So guys, if anything else does break, get into the comments as well on the video. Let me know what you think. I will be back tonight at some point. We can talk about all this stuff again. It will just be a sort of easy show tonight. It'll be a late show tonight. We can discuss everything Liverpool. We need to discuss that as well. The presser will be out for that as well at some point. So we'll go through that probably tomorrow, or that might be today. I can't think. And we'll go through all that stuff tonight. So thank you for watching, guys. Another great show, another hour show. As always, brilliant. Thank you so much for watching. Amazing show. And have a good rest of your afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Have a good one. And I will be back this evening. Take care, and I will see you tonight.